Hello, my loves. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. Hi, hello-y. My name is Loey, and I just did a full beat in the middle of the night because I was going to live stream for my Scream Stream community here on YouTube. I've been taking some time off of streaming because I've been having some trouble with my internet that I thought I had gotten solved, and apparently I haven't. And what I had planned on was that we were going to go through 5 really viral TikTok stories and then watch the latest Nuke's Top 5 video as like a palate cleanser at the end. I was already ready and I was really in the mood to watch this content, so I decided to watch these 5 like viral TikTok stories with all of you. When I say TikTok stories, by the way, I more mean viral situations. Like each of these is kind of a rabbit hole that I'm going to go down with you guys. So maybe it's more like 5 TikTok rabbit holes that I wanted to explore on live with you, but because I couldn't do it live, I decided to record it anyway. I actually had a lot of fun. I don't know if I've ever really done a video like this, where I was literally just going through the rabbit hole with all of you. You can kind of see my process of how I get to the bottom of some of these scary TikToks. So yeah, it sucks I couldn't do this live, but I thought I'd do it anyway. And without any further ado, I think today is going to be a long one. So get your drink, get your snack, and settle in for 5 TikTok rabbit holes. That's juicy, right? That's a good title. That's a catchy title. Yes. 5 TikTok rabbit holes that I want to go down with all of you. This first TikTok comes from a creator named Miranda who does TikTok shop affiliate work. So she was checking her like affiliate requests recently to see if there were any products that like aligned with her account when she came across a popular brand of bags called Lovevook. You can find them on Amazon, TikTok shop. I'm sure they have a website. And it was as she was looking into the sponsor that she came across something really disturbing.
I have now privated the playlist in regards to the Lovevook bag review due to an open investigation, but I'd like to give a synopsis of what happened and also an update of what's currently going on. On April 2nd, I was going through my collab reviews in the back office of my TikTok. I do affiliate review work with TikTok. Lovevook had sent me a collab on their Itsmirandalouise laptop tote bag. I thought it was cute. I clicked on it. I went to look through the customer reviews before I decided if it was something that I wanted to test out and review myself. Upon looking through the reviews, I came across a very disturbing review that was posted March 16th of 2025. The video itself was incredibly dark. It almost looked as if the phone just had its flash on. The person was spinning the tote bag around. I noticed that there was sound, so I didn't know if the person was actually talking or not. I turned the sound on, and in the background, I heard something deeply disturbing to the point that I was sobbing over it.
Now, I have not heard the audio. I did not go searching for it, anything like that. But how she describes this is that it sounds like you can hear a child crying, and the audio implies that somebody is being harmed, like physically harmed. So she sees this, and she is immediately freaking out.
I immediately then reached out to TikTok. I took a screen recording. I sent them all the information that I had and begged them to contact police because obviously I don't have the customer information. It was an order that was placed though. So TikTok and the shop both would have that information. I also contacted the shop. I sent them a message right away. Upon talking to TikTok, they told me, and I don't know whether this was AI or an actual person because it's hard to tell when you are speaking in support, that they didn't have the option to contact police, but that they would look into the review, essentially meaning they would look into possibly removing it if it went against their standards. I did not feel like they were taking this serious. So once I got that response, I did post a video to my personal page with the screen recording, pleading with other people to also report this to TikTok to get someone higher up, or maybe if someone in the community knew someone higher up that could get eyes on this, to get someone to take this serious. Then after that, I called my non-emergency line locally. Obviously, there was nothing they could do, but they were able to guide me in the right direction. They told me to contact my state police, which I did. They then gave me the FBI website to file a complaint, which I did. And then I also called the FBI office in my state to give a statement, or if that's what you want to call it, over the phone to them, both on their automatic system, and then I did speak with an actual human being over the phone.
She goes through this whole process, but when she submits this information, there's nowhere for her to submit the actual video of the audio that she had heard. So once again, she's really feeling like this is not being taken seriously. Like, you guys aren't seeing what I'm explaining. It's a lot more severe than maybe it even sounds. And because she's clearly a good person, she's following this line down, and she's concerned, and she's trying to get someone to pay attention.
Initially, the shop told me that they were based out of China and that I would have a better opportunity at contacting authorities in regards to this, which immediately rubbed me the wrong way and made me feel that they also were not taking this serious. They ended up coming back saying that they were going to work with TikTok directly, gave me a generic statement that they then posted to their profile, but then removed within a few hours. And then I had heard from many of you that you were going to their live shows and leaving comments asking, hey, have you looked into this situation? And their workers were then laughing at people commenting and then blocking those comments so they no longer could say anything to them.
Yeah, so not really how you handle that. You know, I'm not saying that the brand is involved in this video, this terrible audio that this creator heard in any way, but it is linked back to them. It is this review that can be found of this brand very easily. I mean, this creator stumbled upon it without looking up for it in any way. And they should be taking it seriously, and it should not be something that workers giggle about on live.
You pushed the videos out enough that it caught the attention of a woman who works in the field of missing children. She's done this for years, and she had a connection with someone within a government agency that I cannot disclose because now there is finally an open investigation. The audio was incredibly disturbing, and it is something that they would hear in their trainings and absolutely investigate. So we made the right decision, all of us, in calling this in and making a fuss about this. As of now, I don't know what kind of update they will give me after this. I can't guarantee that I will be able to confirm or deny whether a child was found or whether it was anything bad or not. I am still staying in contact because I'm hoping that they at least let me know that they were able to find the person and do a wellness check.
She goes on to basically say that, like, this process was insane. TikTok couldn't report it to the proper authorities. They didn't do anything about the account, and TikTok is notorious for deleting people's entire accounts for calling someone like a silly goose in a comment section, but then not taking care of things like this. Like, I remember earlier this year with the Minion AI nonsense, if you guys remember that, there were like really graphic videos that were being posted under like an AI filter, and nothing was done about it for weeks. Like, I reached out to TikTok. So many people reached out to TikTok. Everybody and their mother reported the content, and just nothing was done. She does go on to keep talking about this, and just to keep talking about how not seriously it was taken, etc., etc. But if you guys want to check out the full video, you can do so on her account. She is Itsmirandalouise. As you can see, most of her content is like her talking about cool stuff from TikTok shop. So that is her general vibe. This was a very random, very sad, very scary thing that happened that I wanted to share with all of you. On a very different note, I came across this video from Darkmoose captioned "Something's at the window."
She was just recording herself when this happens. A girl by the user Dualuba was recording a seemingly innocent video, responding to one of her comments asking her about her username. But little did she know something horrifying would be captured on camera.
He sentido que me parezco a Dua Lipa, pero desde que me corté el cabello siento que me parezco muchísimo menos a Dua Lipa. Y es que muchísima gente me dice que me parezco a la Dua Lipa del 2018 más o menos, que tiene como el cabello cortito. Y me puse a ver fotos y nada que ver. O sea, ella se ve increíble, tenía el cabello súper bonito y yo parezco... No sé, o sea...
As she explains, from her window, the lifeless figure of a woman with dead eyes can be seen, watching her. She doesn't notice and continues recording as the figure suddenly moves. The event was captured while staying the night in a cabin for her sister's birthday, as previously covered in the channel, where she saw something moving inside of an abandoned cabin. So could this terrifying figure be some sort of demented person, a demonic apparition, or just an elaborate ruse? Let me know what you think.
So of course this leads me to Girly Pop's TikTok account, right? Because that was really creepy. And Miss Girl is a very accomplished TikToker. I am so sorry. I was not familiar with your game, Queen, but you can see she has a whole playlist titled Terror. And a lot of her content now is stuff like this. It's just like TikTok trends that she'll do. Like, this is a copyrighted audio, so I can't play it, but she'll do them and then something creepy will happen. She'll have it in the background. And it's fantastic because people will check in on every single video to see if it's scary or not. Like, you can't tell based on the content or even based on the thumbnails and stuff sometimes. Okay, this one has a sensitive content warning, which is always when things end up being the creepiest. Yes! And man, is she doing well for herself. I mean, every single one of these videos just gets millions and millions of views. And I love it so much. I love seeing the girly pops doing spooky stuff. Like, kind of reminds me a little bit of the vibes of like Not Your Normal Kid Show even. Oh, we watched this one. So after seeing this, it's like clearly the person in the Darkmoose video, in the video that he talked about, is not like a random creeper behind her, okay? It is just her bit, and I love it, and it's very unique, and it's doing really, really, really well. But I thought I would just watch some of like the most popular and spookiest ones. I'm going immediately to all of the sensitive content warning ones. It's funny, the ones that end up getting flagged by talking about TikTok's systems. It's interesting the ones that get flagged, because this is totally innocent. This is not like sensitive content. It's just a diva and a diva off with herself. I won't watch every single video. Make sure to check out her account. As always, I'll have everybody listed in the description box. Oh, kitty. We'll watch one more. We'll watch this one. Sorry there's no audio for these either. I might put in some spooky music in the background because it's all copyrighted, but okay. Ooh, yes. I love that trope of taking the photo and then seeing something that's not really there. Yes. Yes. Wow, these are actually really good. They're very, very, very creative. Like, the ideas are fun, and clearly she knows how to go viral, you know? When is it going to be there? Oh, there it is. It's right behind her this time. Wow, that's going to be in the thumbnail for sure. That's a pretty creepy freeze frame. Anyways, thought I would talk about this a little bit because it's going viral, and this girl is really cool, and I will be following her. Oh, I love when people do spooky things on the internet. It makes me so happy. It keeps my job alive. People have been tagging me in videos from a TikTok user named J Clay. Now, I haven't watched these, I'll be totally honest with you, and so I thought it could be cool to watch them alongside you and figure out what in the world this person went through. And this went so viral.
So I was just in the restroom, and I was sitting on the toilet. I don't have to tell you what you do when you sit on a toilet, but I'm kidding you not. As clear as I'm speaking to you right now, out of breath, I hear something say, "You're done. Get out of here." And I literally thought someone walked in my front door, and I said, "Hello?" So I hear it again, "Get out, you're done." So I got up. It's not like I was there for a very long time. I walked into this kitchen and I hear a crash come from the bathroom. Oh, I'm starting to shake. Had I not gotten out of this bathroom when I heard something say, "Get out of this bathroom," all of that would have fallen on top of me and I would have been very, very injured.
Oh,
I'm literally sweating. I'm shaking. That was the most... I know we talk about Freddie being here, but that was something different. That was like, "Get out now." And then that happened. I don't know what else to say. That literally just happened right now.
whoa, that is so scary. I genuinely did not know where that was going. He seems to do this video, seriously, what universe are we living in now? So I kind of thought that it would be like a glitch in the Matrix thing. I want to watch this now.
Well, it seems like today someone has finally made their way down the shafts that were found under the pyramids in Egypt. Clutch your pearls, girls, because now you're telling me that as of today, Dr. and archaeologist Rami, I'm not even going to try to say his last name because I don't want to be disrespectful to the Egyptian culture, is the first human being to make his way to the bottom of the shafts underneath the pyramid and has reported back what he found in the chamber at the bottom. And it is mind-blowing. Now, like always, take what you will, leave what you won't. I have purposely not talked about this topic yet because I like to have my facts backed. But as of today, allegedly, archaeologist Ramy, I'm not going to try the name again, has made his way to the bottom, and what he found there was perfect blue like water chambers, I guess is what I'm referring to them as, with the most beautiful blue color water that he's ever seen in his life, with preserved humanoid body-like creatures in the water, with, as he describes, the most crystal clear blue color in their eyes that he has ever seen. Now,
whoa.
Once again, anything we talk about is for conversation, learning, entertainment purposes only. But have you heard this? Because I've now read 10 different reports and seen multiple videos all over social media, all over the different forums, and they're all claiming the exact same thing. So tell me, have you heard this? Because this is going to shake up history and the truth of our world like nothing else. So let's have this conversation today.
You know, the comment section is pretty skeptical here. Somebody saying that this is old news, water under the pyramids. In our year 2025, he didn't take a camera on pictures or it didn't happen. Y'all remember the one show on the History Channel, Ancient Aliens? Yeah, the dude with the crazy hair. He talked about this exactly and how the pyramids were a power plant and we just laughed. Okay, wait, now I want to watch this guy's like most popular.
So now you're telling me that a council known as the Galactic Federation has been monitoring our planet since the beginning. They apparently were going to make themselves known in 2027, but due to everything that's been going on Earth, they've moved it up to 2025. They are on their third level of presenting themselves. First, starting with the orbs last year, which a lot of people have seen. The second phase, their motherships, their modes of transportation, have been all around the entire world, cloaked. Multiple places that I've seen the videos. Now, once again, this is allegedly, but the third phase is the guy who was sleeping in the egg. The egg that the video that just came out recently, he was resting there. So he's basically their go-to guy. So there is apparently a council of 26 and there are the council of 5, which will be making their human presence known very soon to help us basically get through every bit of craziness that's been happening in our world right now.
I'm with ya. I'm hanging on here. Where's the proof, my friend? Because I do believe in aliens. I absolutely believe that aliens are real. I have said this before, but I have never once seen proof of aliens that we have captured ever. Like, believe they're real. I think it's like nonsensical for my own brain, at least. I'm not saying like if you don't believe in aliens, you're wrong. But like, I think in my own head, it would be silly to think we are the only source of life in a galaxy so massive we can't even begin to comprehend it. But when I watch stuff like this, my first thought, it's crazy. I've turned into such a skeptic. I'm like, I love the story. Show me the articles. Show me the proof. Show me where is this coming from? Because the TikTok telephone effect really just knocks things so far out of proportion that I feel like I've become more skeptical now over stuff like this, like weird news. He has on this video hashtag weird news, and definitely weird news. Okay, I want to watch the third most popular video.
What I'm about to say might be the weirdest sentence that you ever hear in your entire life, but apparently, the A-list, the rich, the elite, the 1% are having mermaid parties. And I don't mean it's a themed mermaid party. I don't mean you dress up like a mermaid. I don't even mean that there are mermaids in the pool that just happen to be ambiance. No, these are mermaid eating parties where they're serving up mermaids. I'm sorry, what in the fish and chips are we talking about? Because yeah, I landed on mermaid eating TikTok. And let me just tell you, my mind is blown. Allegedly, a guy came forward talking about mermaid eating parties in Hollywood. He got invited to a party. Next thing you know, they served a mermaid. He didn't want to eat it. He went to leave. He found a cooler full of living mermaids in the kitchen. What do you think about this? Because I've been to LA a lot. I've been around a lot of A-list people. I've been around a lot of rich people throughout my whole life. I was never invited to a mermaid eating party. And I don't know if I'm upset about that or I'm okay with that. But have you heard these stories? Because Apparently we're eating mermaids now.
This is why I absolutely love watching videos like this live with you guys, because we end up going down a rabbit hole. So now we're on to mermaid dinners, because I have heard about this. I don't know if this is the original one. It seems like it has the most views, the most likes, so let's watch it.
As someone who read the Book of Enoch and told you that mermaids are real and what they really are, I 100% believe that the elites are eating mermaids, and I've actually been telling you this. When I say the elites, the reptiles, the real fallen angels that fell from heaven and became these diabolical Anunnaki, ancient Mesopotamia, Book of Enoch grifters, they exist. If you are not on the side of TikTok where there was a gentleman who claimed he went to a dinner party where they unveiled they would eat mermaids and tried to get him to eat them, and when he went and tried to leave, he walked into a cupboard where he saw actual mermaids waiting to be eaten, you're missing out. Mermaids are in the Book of Enoch, but they are the children of fallen angels and the angels that came to earth pretending to be God and actually mated with other species. They mated with fish, they mated with goats, they mated with horses. That's why there are different types of Nephilim and different types of giants and these creatures that were left out of the Bible completely. But mermaids have always been on my list of being real, as I keep telling you guys.
I don't know where this original, man is, though. I can't seem to find his video. See, this is where you guys would come in really handy. If I was live, you would know exactly what she's talking about. This article is from The Tab. It's hard to track down exactly where the conspiracy theory started, but according to TikToker Zach the Marketer, it was birthed after footage was uploaded to the dark web of what appeared to be people hunting mermaids. From here, people questioned what the purpose would be, and others have since dished on the exclusive dinner parties of Hollywood's elite. Oh dear God, the Reddit post that it references is a no-sleep story. Okay, this video from Tiffsghosttalk is what's being referenced mostly, so I'm gonna see if there's anything else in here that may point us to apparently this supposed video where it all started.
So not only are mermaids real, but the wealthy are serving them as the main dish at their parties. I just got an email from someone that's been to one of those parties, allegedly. I'm still sick, so just deal with it. This entire email came about from the viral video that's going around right now about the guy that had just gotten out of prison and he was needing to make some money. So he joined up with this fisherman crew to go out and catch exotic fish for a ton of money. He thought it was just going to be big, rare fish. Turns out, no, it was mermaids.
Man, I have searched everywhere for this original video. I cannot find it. Every single end just comes up dead. So I know that this is a thing that is going around. I'm not going to keep talking about it just because I don't personally believe that there is a secret organization of people, hi baby, who are eating mermaids at dinner parties. You look like a movie black cat. You look like a black cat they'd see in the movies because you're so handsome. Fascinating though, but this is just the TikTok telephone effect, man. I mean, the Reddit posts being linked and articles talking about this is from No Sleep, which is a place for creepypasta. So really, really, really fascinating that this is going around, but I can't get to the bottom of it. That to say, we're going to finish off this video by deep diving into this glitch in the Matrix story from Ashleeinc. I've been seeing this go really viral. I've been seeing Ashley do live streams with this creator, this other person, Weeping Angel 81, who this happened to, and she's been getting emails about it, she's been getting follow-up stories and stuff like that. It's not something I've had the time to really dig into, so let's do it together.
This woman named Maria emailed me. She's like, I have a glitch in the Matrix story time. It bothers me so much. I've thought about it for years and I have tried to poke holes in it. I am a skeptic and I cannot figure out what happened. She's like, I don't believe in any woo-woo stuff, but there's witnesses and we cannot figure this out. So in 2007, she, her two brothers, her sister, and her sister-in-law were all driving from northern Georgia to Florida where their favorite uncle lived. He unfortunately had passed away. It was very sudden and this trip was not planned, but they all had to drive there and they decided to take Maria's SUV because she had the biggest car. It's a Sunday. They go to the funeral. They go to their aunt's for lunch afterward and then they're all supposed to leave by 2 p.m. because they all work on Monday. But being that they were all around family and having a pretty good time and seeing people that they hadn't seen in a while, they decided to stay a little bit longer, but it was a 10+ hour drive. Maria's like, I'll drive first, and they agreed that they'll take shifts driving home. So around 5 p.m. they pack up the car and they leave. They're on their way back and they're actually having a pretty good time in the car. They don't see each other or get together very often, and they're just like laughing, crying. It's unfortunate circumstances, but they're making the best of it. Maria drives for 5 hours, so it's dark out. She's having an amazing time bonding with her siblings, but she has to pee, like really, really bad. Everybody's like, oh, we have to pee too. So she's like, okay, I'll just get off at the next exit and we'll find a gas station. Her brother says when they get there, he's going to take over driving. The plan was to get there, use the bathroom, fuel up, and get some snacks. She gets off at the next exit. There's no signs like for a gas station or anything, but she's like bouncing in her seat. Like she really, really has to pee. This should have been a first red flag because she said she was driving down this 2-lane highway forever and there's no street lights, nothing. There's no other cars. Finally, in the distance, she sees the lights of a gas station, so she pulls in. Pulls up to the pump, jumps out of the car, runs into the bathroom, doesn't pay attention to anything around her. She said all she could focus on was making it to the bathroom before she peed herself.
You know what? That's so real. When you have to pee on a road trip, like nothing around you could possibly matter more than just finding a place to go to the bathroom.
She does her business, whatever, comes out of the bathroom. All of her siblings are standing outside the bathroom door and they all have these strange looks on her faces, but she doesn't say anything and they don't say anything, but her sister rushes past her and slams the door behind her. From her description, it sounds like just a single toilet bathroom, no stalls or anything. After her sister rushes in, that's when she finally gets a chance to look around, but something was just off. There was a single fluorescent light hanging from the ceiling and it was a yellow haze. Every few seconds it flickered, so she looks at her brother to say like, this is creepy, and she realizes he's just staring at the man behind the counter. The man's just standing there. He's not moving. He's not talking. He's not even blinking. And they don't even see his chest moving. Like he's not breathing. But then again, they're kind of far away. So she just chalks it up to like, I can't see him breathe from here. He was just staring at them. And he had this long, white, scraggly beard, balding hair. He was wearing a grimy pair of overalls with a dirty white shirt underneath. He was thin. His face was wrinkled and his eyes looked sunken and hollow and almost black. The vibe was just eerie. Nobody's saying anything. And the longer she stood there, the more uncomfortable she felt. Her sister's like taking forever in the bathroom. So she just decides to walk through the aisles looking for snacks. She said, honestly, at this point, she didn't even care about snacks. She was just looking for something to do, but she just wanted to get out of there. She said, we weren't supposed to be there. I just know it. And as she's looking at these snacks on the shelves, she realizes all the labels are dated, old, vintage, covered in dust. She said all the drink coolers were off and the glass was so filthy and grimy, she didn't even dare touch anything in there. She said the feeling of dread became unbearable and she could see it on her siblings' faces as well. Meanwhile, the man is still just staring at them, not moving, not blinking. After what felt like an eternity, her sister finally comes out of the bathroom. She grabs her hand and all 5 of them bolt out of the gas station. Nobody bought anything. Nobody even exchanged a word. They all just knew that they had to get out of there. As they're basically running to the car, they realize that there's no sounds, no nature sounds, no frogs, no crickets, no wind, nothing, just silence. She hops in the driver's seat. She peels out of the gas station. She peels off in the direction where they came from, toward the highway. She says she knows 100% she was going the right way, but keep in mind this was 2007. They weren't using GPS. She said she had a candy bar phone, but Apple Maps weren't a thing yet. She had made the trip from Georgia to Florida and back tons of times, and so she didn't need a map. She knew the route like the back of her hand. They drive for 15 minutes, still no highway, and then they see lights in the distance, another gas station. But as they get closer, they realized it wasn't another gas station. It was the same gas station on the same side of the road as when they approached it. She said she slowed down as they passed it to see the man who was behind the counter, still not moving, but now staring out the window, watching them. She said she floored it. She was going down the road about 100 miles an hour. All of her siblings were freaking out. She's freaking out. But again, the skeptical side of her is like, no, there has to be an explanation. There has to be something rational happening here. She thought that maybe there was a fork in the road that she didn't see and she just took it and looped them around or something like that. So she's paying extra close attention as they're headed now back toward the highway again. She said they never turned. There was never a fork in the road. Another 15 minutes go by and you guessed it. They come up to the gas station again. She said this time it wasn't the same. She was in complete shock. The lights were off, the windows were boarded up, and there were no trespassing signs all over it. But she knew it was the same one because she could see the tire marks from where she peeled out. She said, I don't know how this is possible. It looked like it had been abandoned for years. She slowed down again passing it and she rolled down the windows and then they could hear nature sounds again. Her brother just yells at her, what are you doing? He just screams, go, go, go. So she peels off again and within 5 minutes they were back at the highway. They get back on the highway and they are all just silent because nobody knows what they just experienced. She said the look of shock was apparent on all of their faces and they barely said a word for the rest of the drive. She said about a year later she was visiting her grandmother in Florida again and she had some time, so she decided she was going to try to find that gas station. She couldn't find it and she's tried to find it a few times since then. She said she can't even find the exit they took. Apparently they all still talk about it. She's looking for answers, so if anybody knows anything or you want to let her know what you think happened, did she really experience time travel or a glitch in the matrix, she'll be tagged in the caption.
This is fascinating. Okay, so this has ended up getting so many updates. Normally when Ashley does a video, it's a one and done on the story unless people submit similar stories or the poster has some sort of an update. Now, Ashley, I didn't really preface this, but I assumed you all were familiar with Miss Ashleeinc because she's one of my favorite TikTokers. She tells stories that her followers send her like every single day on TikTok. Well, right after this, she posts this video.
TikTok may have just solved or at least provided a clue to whether time travel or time loops are real. When I tell you I ran to make this video as soon as I just read the email that I just read. Yesterday I posted the story about this woman named Maria who said that she and her siblings experienced what they think is a time loop while driving from Georgia to Florida, or Florida to Georgia. Basically, her and her siblings could not escape this gas station, and that video is right before this video in this playlist. But I just got an email from this guy named John Doe. He did not use his real name, okay? This email came at 2:56 a.m. I'm just gonna read you what he said. Normally I like to summarize, but I feel like this one needs to be read in his words. Keep in mind, I can never prove or disprove the validity of these emails. Like, these could come from anyone. So I don't know if this is true, but it's very convincing, okay? It says, "Hi, Ashley. My hands are shaking as I type this email. I have debated sending this message for several hours, and I am now several drinks in. With liquid courage, my curiosity finally outweighs my hesitation. Regarding the story of what you call Maria's glitch in the Matrix, as she and her family traveled from Florida to Georgia, I am curious if she remembers an approximate location. I ask because her story is eerily similar to a story my father told my sister, who is recently deceased, and I as we were growing up, and the details of this story made me question everything I've ever believed in. I have reason to think my father may have been the man they encountered at the gas station. My father was born in 1942, not far from Lexington, Kentucky. He was a man of pride and valued that over all else. When he was a teenager, he and his family relocated to Georgia, where he spent most of his life."
Apparently, John Doe gives a lot of context about his dad. His dad was in the military. When he gets discharged, he marries John Doe's mother, and he's just going through like their family history and also the fact that his dad had a problem with pills.
His doctors prescribed him a mix of something for sleep, something to keep him functional, and something else for pain. A mix that was common for veterans back then.
No way did someone literally just tag me, I think, in one of these videos.
Couple that with excessive drinking, and you can imagine that my mother was unhappy. She often packed the car and took us to live with her parents, my grandparents, but they always ended up getting back together, and we played happy family from time to time whenever my father cleaned up his act enough to win her back. Although he had periods of employment as a mechanic, working for small mom and pop shops and even running his own business at one point, he was often unemployed for long stretches. By the time this story takes place, my mother must have been fed up and threatening to leave him again because he cleaned up his act long enough to get a job working nights at a gas station. The place was owned by an old friend of his, and it had an old body shop attached to it that was mostly non-functional. I don't know if it was for lack of business or money, but I think the plan was to get Dad working back in the shop eventually when there was business for it. The year was 1984 and I was 13. I remember this because my sister and I had gone to see Karate Kid the night he came home talking about time travelers. We were still awake. My sister's friend Jill was spending the night and I had a thing for her, so I was hanging around trying to impress her. I saw the headlights from a car pull in the drive and heard my father come in the back door. This was earlier than he usually arrived home, and he and my mother argued. At one point, she appeared in the doorway of our bedroom and pulled it shut. I couldn't hear most of the conversation, but he was frantic. He yelled about time travel. My mother must have thought he was out of his mind, drunk or high, and told him to get out. I heard him shuffle down the hallway, presumably to pack a bag. A few minutes later, the door burst open and he stood in the hall, his eyes wide and scared. When he talked, his voice was low. "I saw ghosts tonight. 5 of them. Ghosts from the future," he told us. The 3 of us stared at him, not believing a single word. By that point, he had disappointed us so many times that we never expected him to stay sober for long. "You don't believe me. I can prove it. There's tire marks where they left it. I'll show you." My sister nodded, trying to appease him. He looked sad, realizing that tire marks didn't prove anything. The car was from the future, too. And after that, they left, and they came back to watch me driving by real slow. My mother appeared in the doorway behind him and told him it was time to go. He didn't fight her, just slumped over and walked out. He matches this woman's description nearly to a T. He would have only been in his early 40s when this took place, but his hair had gone completely silver in his mid-30s. He had the darkest, most hollow eyes you've ever seen, which I always attributed to his years of substance abuse that also aged him beyond his years. He almost always wore the same pair of denim overalls and a white shirt beneath it. He was wearing them that night. I remember it as clear as if it were yesterday, because that was the last time I saw him for 16 years.
Wow.
He came back around when my first child was born. He had tried to make contact over the years, but my mother insisted that he was unwell and that having him in our lives wouldn't do anything good for us. She was probably right. After my mother's passing and when I became a father, I realized it was time to let the past be the past and let him back in. He was overjoyed to be a grandfather, and that night as we caught up, I brought up the last night I saw him. I asked him why he relapsed when he did. He told me that he didn't, and that the story he told us that night about seeing 5 people from the future was the truth. He said he'd always known what he had seen, but that no one had ever believed him. Eventually, he said he just stopped talking about it, but it had changed his entire life.
Oh my god, I have like full body chills from this. It could be somebody just making up this story, but it feels so real and so specific, and like the details match up so well. It also maybe could be like a crazy coincidence, but that's not the vibe that I'm getting at all. Apparently after this, his dad started believing in God, and it just changed everything for him.
I still didn't believe him, but I thought that at least he was sober and found something to believe in. He died the following year. Wow. I have told my daughters this story, and until now it was just that, a story, one of the few I have of him. One of my daughters, who still lives at home with my wife and I, saw your video and showed it to me last night as I lay dozing on my chair. She said it reminded her of the story I'd told her of her grandfather. Upon first watch of your video, I came to the conclusion that I was having a lucid dream. When I realized I was awake, my hands trembled hard enough that I had trouble holding her phone. My daughter did not know details of what my father wore or even what he looked like at the time, with long, unkempt hair and a thin, skeletal build, the night he supposedly encountered these people from the future. No one could have known the details of his story or how precisely they matched this story you shared unless they had been there themselves. My father was an addict, there's no doubt about that. Perhaps he really was hallucinating that night, but now I wish I'd asked him more questions. As for the gas station, if it was the same one, it would have been just south of Valdosta on road, off of SR 376. I have chosen to stay anonymous as I work in a field that demands evidence-based thinking and cannot have my name out there in relation to this story. I hope you understand. I also understand if you decline to share this, as it may seem like just a disappointed son grasping at straws to feel a connection with his father. Either way, it gives me some peace to know that maybe he was telling the truth. Okay. So where do we go from here?
Wow. I fully understand why this has been going so viral now. I mean, the original story was crazy, but this coming the very next day is like, you can't even write, I don't know, like a Netflix series about that. It looks like there's a bunch of other videos connected to this.
TikTok may be proving that time travel, glitches in the Matrix, and rips in the time-space continuum are real, in real time. We have another possibly connected story to the Maria John Doe time travel saga. If you're just joining now, basically I got an email from this woman named Maria who submitted to Spooky Scary Storytime her story about her and her siblings getting caught in this time glitch where they couldn't leave a gas station when they were driving back from Florida to Georgia. That story was wild enough. But then we got another email from a guy who used a fake name and a fake email because he said he works in a field that demands evidence-based thinking and he cannot have his name attached to this story. But he provided more context and said that he believes that his father may have been the ghostly man that they encountered in the gas station. The thing was, his father had complained about seeing people from the future. So we have basically two sides of this same story, but nobody ever believed this guy before he died. I've still not gotten another update from him. Unfortunately, he used a fake name and a fake email, so I can't email him back in my submission form, but we're hoping he'll send a photo so that Maria can see it and confirm if it was actually the same person. So now that you're all caught up on that, we have this other email, and this person, I don't know if they want to be anonymous. They just sent this like 2 hours ago. So if you're the one that sent this, I emailed you back. Just let me know, and if you want me to update the caption with your tag, I will. But she said, when I saw your video, I immediately sent it to my ex-husband in disbelief because we know that gas station. She says they were there in 2012. She and her now ex-husband were on a road trip. They were newlyweds and it was a sort of honeymoon. They were pretty broke. They were kids and they were both working in the restaurant industry, so they didn't have a ton of extra money, but they just decided to do a road trip together. So they drove from Nashville to Atlanta. They went to Six Flags for a day and then they were going to go to St. Pete, Florida. But first they stopped in Warner Robins, Georgia. Her ex's aunt and uncle lived there in a spooky old farmhouse and they were going to spend the night with them instead of spending money to stay the night at a hotel. She said it was a really rural area, and when they left the next morning they were headed to St. Pete, but for some reason their GPS didn't take them back to the interstate. It took them on the most arduous route through the backwoods of the Florida-Georgia line that you could ever imagine. She said they would drive for like 2 hours and their GPS would only show them 30 minutes closer to their destination, and it was maddening. She said this went on for 6 or 7 hours, like the GPS was barely moving. She cried more than once. In her email she said it felt like we were in the Twilight Zone. She said it felt like we were stuck in some rural liminal space where time moved differently. She said it felt like there was nowhere to stop, there was no food, no gas, nothing. No signs of life, just peanut and cotton fields in every direction. Finally, their gas light comes on. She has to pee so bad and they're out of food and drink. What was supposed to be this romantic getaway ended up being this like really scary and uncomfortable situation. But finally they see a gas station. Now she says if she remembers correctly, this was a sit-go or whatever has the red triangle logo. She said it looked like it hadn't been touched since the 60s. It had 2 single pumps outside with no awning. She said she's normally very picky about where she stops on road trips, but by this point she was just so desperate that she was just like, fine, just stop. She describes herself here as a sciencey atheist with a sprinkle of witchy woo-woo. She said she doesn't believe in a sky daddy situation, but does believe it's possible that energetic imprints get left behind. She said as soon as they pulled up, she was immediately overcome with this sense of dread. She said every alarm bell in her body was screaming danger. There were no signs of life. There was no sounds. It was completely silent. And she said as she stood outside the car, a tumbleweed rolled by her. She said maybe that far south, that's a thing. She said the building was not boarded up and they could have gone in, but they both looked at each other and it felt for a second like one of those old scenes from a Western movie where everything is in slow motion. They both must have felt it because they both just got back in the car. She hopped in the driver's seat and peeled out of there. She says she felt with every ounce of her intuition that if she had gone in there, she would not have come back out. As they were pulling out, they noticed that the pump said 40 cents a gallon. There's no way that that was right for 2012. Within 5 minutes, they made it back to I-75. It was near Valdosta, the same city referenced in both of the other stories. So this doesn't really make sense of how they could be driving for 6 or 7 hours, not getting any closer to their destination, and then after finding this gas station, be back on 75 within 5 minutes. She said the experience was so freaky that it became part of their like honeymoon tales when they got back. She said she and her ex put the address mentioned in the other videos into GPS, and that's pretty much exactly where it was. So if this is the same place, then it may have been a Sitco or a Sitgo, the one with the red triangle. I don't know if that lines up with Maria's story, and I don't know if that lines up with John Doe's story. But I do know that something weird seems to be going on SR 376 in Georgia. Some people have been sending me photos of gas stations in the area from 2007 on Google Maps or Google Earth. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to investigate this with us. I'm going to forward those all to her right now, and then she can verify. But yeah, this is getting weird. This is getting weird, but we're going to get to the bottom of it. I promise if I get any other updates, you will be the first to know.
Okay. This probably must have been 2018. If you do not know, I live in Los Angeles now, but I'm actually from Georgia, and not just anywhere in Georgia. I'm from the middle of quite literally nowhere in Georgia. Grew up, went to school near Athens, and then worked in Atlanta for a bit, left Georgia. But I have done this drive from Florida to Georgia more times than I care to count. There was one time where I don't know what it was, but I was going through a period where flying really freaked me out. For a while there, I was literally on a plane like every single week at minimum, if not like twice, 3 times a week, whatever. And I was just so sick of flying. I didn't feel like flying. And I was going from Georgia down to Florida for Playlist Live. And I do this drive. I do it with Christian, my brother. And we get caught in the craziest, heaviest, most intense rain ever, which isn't that strange. You know, if you are from this area, like the rain can just come down in buckets and then stop like nothing ever happened. Like an entire place can flood before you even heard on the news that it was supposed to rain. It's raining so hard that we actually end up pulling over, and we go to this abandoned gas station. No building, anything like that, just like the awning and where the pumps used to be. And I think that there were a couple of pumps. So we're just sitting there waiting for the rain to pass, and we both are like staring into the darkness, and quite literally, we have both described this, it looked like a building materialized before our eyes. Now the weather was so bad, maybe it had just cleared up and we could just see this building now, but it literally looked like an asylum you would see in a film, like an abandoned asylum you would see in a film, like a big brick building with all of these like windows that were, some of them were boarded up. It was really, really, really intense. And I don't remember a lot of this because we never talked about it. We were both so weirded out by it that we ended up just kind of like hightailing it out of there the minute the rain let up enough for us to leave. I really wonder if there's something to this, if there's like some sort of weird time travel glitch between these two states. Maybe there's like a portal or something. I don't know. All right, well, this is the second John Doe update, apparently.
We got another update from John Doe, the guy that's been providing context regarding this time loop glitch in the Matrix mystery that's been unfolding before our eyes on TikTok. This guy, John Doe, gave us the location of the gas station. So now people have been going there to try to find a foundation or just something to prove that it exists. So Maria and I have been going back and forth trying to figure out how we can prove the validity of this guy's claims. She's on here answering a ton of questions. Her @ is Weeping Angel 81. We realized that the easiest way to prove that this is real is for this guy to send a photo of his dad during that time and then for her to verify it. Now that we're all caught up, I'm going to read you the newest email that he sent, which he sent around 1 p.m. today. Keep in mind, I can't prove the validity of what this guy says. He could just be some stranger on the internet who's trying to troll everybody. However, I am becoming more and more convinced as I read his email. Main thing is I just don't know what he has to gain from lying, but I'll read you what he said. This one, like the other one, I'm just going to read his email exactly as it comes instead of summarizing it. Okay, so this one says, "Hey Ashley, I just want you to know I've kept up with the updates about Maria's story. I do still believe this is connected to my father. I'm reaching out again to provide more context about myself and my reasons in choosing to not be publicly connected. I understand and sympathize with your and Maria's want for a photo of my dad to prove the validity of what I'm saying," which means he's watching these updates. "I have a few pictures of him from the early 70s when I was a baby and one from when he was in the army before I was born. I'm not sure if those would be helpful. Unfortunately, due to his issues with this and this, we don't have a lot of nice family photos from the late 70s, early 80s when his problems went downhill. As I mentioned in my last email, my mother often took us to stay with my grandparents, and the times that we were all together, my parents were usually fighting or dad was out at bars on benders for days on end." He did reference all of this in the first email as well. "I know at least one photo exists from a road trip we all took to Mount Rushmore in 1982. I would have been 11. I remember taking it and have seen it, though not in years. My sister had the few family heirlooms and photos my mother left us, but as I mentioned in my first email, she passed from cancer in June of 2023. Her husband may still have them. I can reach out." So that means he's going to try and get us a photo. "As far as the name of the gas station when my dad worked there, I can't remember. It may have been called Bobby's or Ben's, ? A man's name with a B, but I also remember it changing names several times through the years. It seemed to change owners often, and the name and logo was always changing with it. My mother moved us out of the area in 1987 and remarried, so I am unable to provide any context about what it may have been after that. I am sending this follow-up because I too would like to get to the bottom of this and am willing to do what I can to help. That said, I am still not willing to have my name publicly attached. I am 54 years old, my wife and I both still work, and I have 3 daughters who are building their own lives. Besides protecting all that, I have been dealing with the fallout of coming to terms with the fact that I had distanced myself from my father on the basis that I assumed that he was this and this, parentheses, he was, and finally lost his mind. During the period he worked there, he swore he had cleaned up his act, and the night before, he put in quotes, the incident, as I'll call it moving forward, we all had assumed he had relapsed and broke his promise again. Maybe he would have anyway, who knows. Still, it's been a lot for me to process mentally. I didn't talk to him or have any relationship with him for 16 years because of it. Regarding another question I saw, I'm not sure what made him think the people or ghosts he saw were from the future. I would say if you want to start somewhere or are looking to get more information about who and what he saw, he would have talked more to his friends at the bar than to us. He drank at the local VFW, though I have no idea where it was. I assume that's where he spent most of his time after my mother took us and left. I have seen some people dismiss me as being fake or a clever writer, but I assure you that if I was going to be writing a work of fiction, it would be something more pleasant than this. I am past my years of proving myself, especially to strangers, and then he put in quotes, please do not take offense to this. I shared this simply because I felt like it helped Maria connect some dots. Her story helped me. So from that, it sounds like he's going to try to get a photo, so maybe we'll have an update soon. We can verify if this guy at the gas station was the same person, because if that happens, I don't know what it means. I ran the body of this text through ChatGPT to see if it sounded AI generated. This is what it said. You can pause to read this, but it doesn't think it's AI. I've also gotten about 75 other emails from people who are claiming to be at this gas station. I don't know what's real and fake anymore, so I'm going to make a longer video about all of these emails and the ones that seem credible to me, and I'll post that tonight on the other platform.
As far as I understand it, we have one more update here. This is like the big update, and I hope I'm not missing anything. But I don't think that John Doe ever sent in that photo.
TikTok has been working overtime to solve the mystery of whether or not time travel is real. A few weeks ago, I posted a video because I got a story from a woman named Maria. Her ad is Weeping Angel 81. We just got an email from John Doe with a photo. The full breakdown of the story is here, but I'm going to read you this new email because this is the update I think that everyone's been waiting for. And Maria and I are actually doing a live tonight to talk about this and process it because we're really not sure what to do with this information. Like, we were supposed to record a podcast tonight. Anyway, John Doe says, I'm going to read this in his words because I don't want to butcher it, but he says, hey, Ashley and Maria. Attaches a photo of my father from 1982. I'm sorry for the delay between my last message and now. There was some back and forth between my brother-in-law and I, but he found the picture I referenced in my last email. It was in storage with some of my sister's things. He referenced earlier that his sister is deceased. Unfortunately, as I stated in my previous email, this is one of the only photos I have from the time period. My father was sober when our family took this trip. He would have been about 40 years old, though I'm sure you can agree he looks much older.
I think this was due to a combination of his pill and alcohol abuse up to this point, but I feel like back then people also tended to appear older than they were. By the time he worked at the gas station, his beard and hair had grown out quite a bit past his ears. I've been racking my brain trying to remember the name of the station, but it escapes me. I wish my sister was still around. She was older and always had a better memory than me. For some reason, though, my mind keeps going back to Bobby's. I can't say I'm 100% certain, but if it wasn't Bobby's, I'm almost certain it was similar to that. I feel like there's something there or the name wouldn't sound so familiar. I don't know if this picture will help you solve anything, but maybe there's something to this picture that will strike a chord in Maria. If not, I have at least enjoyed the back and forth. Thanks for the conversation and for the effort you both have put into trying to get to the bottom of this. It's been extremely placating on my end. Sincerely, John. As of right now, Maria and I have just decided not to post the photo because we don't necessarily want to give his identity up. But I also feel like it's relevant to the story. So we're still trying to figure out what to do with that. But if you want the full story and like other stories that came from this area, I have 2 videos that include all of the details. They're both on my YouTube. That's what they're called. So you want to watch this one, A Deep Dive into Georgia's SR 376 Time Glitch Mystery, and then part 2 as well. That's really only for the people who haven't followed this story, but I know a lot of you have.
I went to the original storyteller, Weeping Angel 81's account, and she has like a whole playlist going through the entire story. But I saw a comment here saying, so the picture of his father, was it the same man you saw? I'm dying to know and I can't find anything. To which somebody replied, and I don't know if this is from, this person's account. I don't know if it's from that live stream that Ashley had referenced. This person says she is 95% sure he has sunglasses on in the picture, so that causes her some hesitancy. I mean, that's half of his face, I completely understand why you wouldn't be able to place that. This is so fascinating because I think personally, in a world of fake TikTok hoaxes and stories, these are 2 people who are being very earnest. Are their stories connected? That's really up for you to decide. I think it's fascinating, but then you also have to take into account Ashley saying she's getting countless emails from people claiming to be connected to the story, claiming their loved one worked at a gas station and this gas station. And it's so hard with the internet to know what is real, what is not. And we've talked about in this video alone the telephone effect of TikTok and how quickly things can kind of lose the plot, so to speak. But I really wanted to watch this story all the way through, and I had wanted to watch it with you guys. So I'm just completely fascinated. It's something I will keep up with. Ashley has such incredible stories. I highly recommend also checking out her actual YouTube video on this. I will, as always, have her and everybody that I talk about today linked down below. But really, 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 really interesting. And I think there's something to be said that she is able to maybe have the discernment as well that she is seeing other videos that she's not, or is seeing other emails she's not sharing. It would be so easy to milk this for all it's worth and to release every single email attached to it. But I think that she genuinely wants to get to the bottom of it as much as everybody else. So yeah, let me know what you think about Maria's time travel glitch. But that is our last story I wanted to talk about today. Thank you all so very much for watching. If you did enjoy, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. A special thank you to my subscribers who are members of the channel. If you want to join the channel memberships and get extra members exclusive perks like members only videos, polls to help me decide on future video topics, and other cool stuff, you can click that little join button somewhere around the screen. We would love to have you. An extra special thank you to my VIP loves for their continued and generous support of the channel. I love and appreciate you all very, very much. I love you all very much. Thank you for your patience as I'm trying to get back to streaming regularly, but this was fun to do as something a little bit different. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.